Welcome. This is the AdventPod SA, a timely voice indeed, and I'm your host, Mkhwanazi. And on this show, we explore the intricacies between the Bible and its perspective and analysis on your current realities, the realities you watch on the news. So this show is not necessarily to politicize the Bible, but it is to give biblical perspectives for the Christian who might be wondering, what does the Bible have to say about the realities we face in the country today? So if you're interested in this type of content, please make sure that you like, share and subscribe this video, and make sure that you join us on this journey as we continue exploring more and more themes that are related to the Bible and your reality. All right, let's dive straight into it. The Bible says in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse 11, "Because sentence against evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the hearts of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil." Doesn't that sound like something we're all too familiar with? During the recent weeks, we have had the Madlanga Commission exploring evidence around the criminal justice systems and the implications around it being corrupt and having been infiltrated by criminal cartels. Now, this is quite telling because while the Madlanga Commission is trying to uncover evidence, the Bible already tells us that there is a possibility that in the delay, there might be elements seeking to do even more evil. And some of the things that happen is very, very scary. Painful things have happened. However, it is nice to see that the Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi has shown that the policing system is not just about money and power, it is about morality. And calling those who have done wrong to book is his first priority, as should be the priority of all Christians. Now, the problem is the Madlanga Commission has sat too long, has delayed too long, and around this time, all the elements of evil are probably trying to cover their tracks, which is basically what the Bible is saying here. The second thing that happened after this event, which is tied to it, is the death of the former ambassador, Nathi Mthethwa. Nathi Mthethwa dies at an awkward place in the city of love in Paris indeed. And love was not kind in this instance. He just fell flat from the Hyatt Hotel where usually lovemaking is happening. But the point of the matter is, the Bible tells us that when you delay, evil people cover their tracks. And so with Nathi Mthethwa, the challenge has been that the South African government has deployed its intelligence operatives very late in the process, and obviously them being deployed so late might already compromise the investigations, because then the allegations into the whole death scenario being foul play might be a reality that many in Paris or France have already covered up. So what is the challenge to us as Christians living in this modern era? The challenge is we should not take time to execute justice. Well, let's now dive into these theological concepts more closely. Now, you might be saying to me, well, Kahano, what does that verse have to do with the current realities? Well, you heard the verse. The verse says, when you allow justice systems to drag out, you are allowing basically criminality to cover itself up. And the challenge is that the Bible noticed this a long time ago. Obviously, they were dealing with the same kind of challenges, because what we see in the Bible mirrors exactly what is happening here. And what we need to focus on is not that I'm trying to equate what happened in the Bible to what's happening here. What we need to focus on is how the criminal justice system being compromised also speaks to the national moral decay. And the national moral decay is brought about because of the lack of God in government. And when you remove God from government, it's chai. Literally, it's chai. Because until now, God had been the ruler, who would even rule in the kingdoms of men. You can read it. God ruled in Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, even though Nebuchadnezzar was the king of Babylon. God is the one who rules, and if you deliberately remove him, he will show you who he is. He will definitely show you. So some of the criminality we're seeing, fine. there's an issue. I take issue with this idea that you have to wait way too long for justice to be served. And there are people who comment and say, "Oh no, the arm of the law is very long. You know, the arm of justice is very long. Once it catches you, it catches you eventually." I have a slight problem with that, because we also have cases in the Bible where the widows were supposed to be prioritized in terms of their justice and their needs. And there's this one widow who, in Luke chapter 18, was begging to see the judge all the time, coming, unrelenting, saying, "Judge, I need my case to be heard. I need my case to be heard." But what did the judge do? He ignored. Postponement after postponement. Isn't that what we're seeing today? You know, a case could have started in 2012 and it's not yet resolved until now. Tell me what's happening to the families of those who are, you know, in that situation. Yeah, justice delayed, man. It's a problem.
We know that you love watching our content here on the AdventPod SA. And guess what? We enjoy delivering it to you. So why wouldn't you take the time to subscribe?
We often say, even in our current spaces and circles, that justice delayed is justice denied. But how much do we mean when we say that? Because in reality, if we have situations that are dragged out, people have already covered it up, man. Like, they've already gone to different countries, and you won't get the same level of accountability anymore, right? You just won't. So my prayer and my wish is that this could be done quickly, and that we could bring, you know, whoever is responsible to book. Because what we can't deny is that during the times of Moses, there were actually stricter regulations to say, when a person comes to you, Moses, you must see them quickly. This is why Jethro, the father-in-law of Moses, said to Moses, "Moses, you're judging the children of Israel, and you're sitting alone, and you're there way too long to get through all the cases. Why don't you appoint judges who are men who are filled with the Spirit, who can help you in judging the matters of Israel?" Where then you realize that it's important for the justice to be heard quickly. That's why efficiencies were made, such that people can come to Moses and his panel of judges, so that they can each hear matters within their tribes. And then Moses became the Supreme Court of Appeal, or he became the constitutional court, if you will. And these judges would take cases in their different tribes, and the serious cases they would bring to Moses. And this is found in the books of Exodus and Numbers a bit. So what we're trying to say here, and through my commentary, is that we have seen cases in the Bible where efficiencies are made possible for justice not to be delayed. However, we see that in the modern era, people are too concerned or more comfortable. What am I saying? No, people are too concerned with being comfortable while uncovering the gross misconduct and corruption that has been taking place in the country. So we can't have a situation where you want to investigate corruption and you want to maintain luxury at the same time. That can't happen. We need you to sacrifice a few things. And yes, we appreciate those who have sacrificed a few things. However, we need you to then continue the work and not pause it and stop it and tell us that, oh no, the allocations of funding are not adequate. The challenge then becomes who must fund the entity that is going to uncover the corruption which has depleted the very resources that we needed. Am I making sense to anyone? So, if the corruption was 2 billion, yeah? The corruption was 2 billion. Running an investigation on a corruption of 2 billion would require 1 billion over 3 years. This is just an example. If running a commission requires 1 billion over 3 years, for a corruption of 2 billion over 14 years, why are we so hell-bent on the idea that the commission is spending 1 billion, and we even lament the fact that there are some cuts to salary, there's this, there's that, there's this. Where was the money for the commission supposed to come from if 2 billion is stolen and it's unrecovered? Now we are spending new money to uncover the rot of the 2 billion. Do you see the problem? Do you see the problem? Anyway, I digress. What we need to focus on here is, does the gospel become relevant during matters such as these? And to what extent? And to what extent do we push the biblical narrative onto some of these things? Because in honesty, the Christian voice has been dialed down, has been dialed down a lot in this country, and unfortunately, for obvious reasons, of course, people don't want to be held to a higher moral authority or standard, and this has been evident in the rulings that have been made by constitutional court judges. It has been made evident with the actions of the executive. It has been made evident even in the way parliamentary politics are being played out. And you can tell that a country that has no higher moral standard, for lack of a better word, it's going down the doldrums. So I'm just commenting, look, from a biblical perspective and a little bit of my own social commentary. But I do hope that this was valuable for you and that you found, something, to hold on to in the Bible, to say, hey, if the ones that are in charge of uncovering and making sure that people are held accountable take too long, the criminals are networking to make sure that doesn't happen to them. So I really do hope that, whenever people who are implicated go and testify, there can be proper action taken. Proper action taken. I'm here for proper action. No lie. I'm here for proper action. As much as I do sympathize with them and I wish they can find Jesus wherever they are, I really do also wish that they are brought to book, because they won't find Jesus if they are not brought to book. That's not how it works. You see, it is possible to find grace before justice, but justice is important for you to appreciate mercy. Yeah, justice is very important for you to appreciate mercy. In fact, there's a Bible verse I like in the book of Psalms, chapter 85, verse 10. It says, justice and mercy kissed each other. They went on a little rendezvous and they kissed each other. You should read it. It's very nice. I like reading these weird parts of scripture, by the way. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Let me stop talking. So that's the biblical analysis for your current news and updates. I am Mkhwanazi. We out.